And so we are about to start our final session. And I have to note that with Melody and our presenters for this final session, since Melody it's what is it, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. for you now?
Yeah, it's 10 a.m. here.
All right. And then we have Patrick and Taro and Lucas, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's morning for all of you, right? So that actually makes Soiree a multi-day event. Because I think it's January 31st where you are. So
indeed. I was actually tempted to write in my presentation January 31st just to make it even longer, but I didn't at the end. So it's the 30th.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, we're home based, I guess, on Eastern Time US. So we still haven't caught up to you. You are all living in the future, as far as I can tell, and we're going to know even more about how far into the future that you're living with your presentations. And so all three of our presenters. So this is Patrick, Taro, and is it Lucas?
Lucas is more
Lucas?
than
Okay,
enough. Thank you. Yeah,
great.
Lucas works.
So I just have it as not that not that the order matters, but I have a list of Lucas, Patrick, Taro. So each of you would provide a 5-minute presentation, and we can just go one after the other in that order, and then we'll have time for discussion and Q&A about what you've presented. So with that, I hand it over to Lucas to start the presentations.
Uh, Thank you, Nick. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for also assigning a time slot difference in the whole program for Hong Kong. So I've known for 3 days how early I would have to get up. Thanks for reminding me. My name is Lukasz. I'm based in Hong Kong. I'll be talking about integrating 3D Gaussian splatting into creative media curricula, a few strategies and challenges. Thank you again for inviting me. I actually presented some of this materials in Hong Kong here at SIGGRAPH Asia. So for all those who drop by to Hong Kong, I hope you had a nice time here, and I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you in LA in a few months. So what I've been doing, for the past few years, I've been really interested in this convergence between the captured real life data and the synthetic. Of course, we've all seen Marble yesterday, a big fuss about it. So I'm really looking forward that the general audience will start to look into all those possibilities of making spatial content, being captured based or synthetic based. But of course, I'm not staying on the screen level only. What I like to do in my work, I do a full loop. So I kind of capture, transform, and try to give it back to the physical world again. So this is just one of the works that I did, and it's going to be exhibited soon. But enough about myself. That's not the main reason. I just wanted to give you some background on me. So all of those ideations, tools, explorations, content design, but how to transfer it back. Yeah, it's all nice that we can play with those tools, but what next? So for the last three years at this point, I've been trying to come up with the curricula and with multiple syllabi to actually teach radiance fields in the context of creative industry education. So I did both shorter master classes as well as university, like semester-long classes. So I got multiple perspectives, and I could also try out different things, what works, what doesn't work. Yeah, so since we only have a few minutes, I will talk mostly on the class that I did last term at the School of Creative Media here in Hong Kong. And since those were masters, students had from multiple background, I just wanted to make it as approachable as possible. So actually, we didn't venture out into Blender, Unreal, make a AAA game in in one month. I just wanted to stay at the level of videos, basically. So you experiment with your spatial capture, and then you try to make a video. But since those were students from different backgrounds, what I usually do in the very first class, I ask them to take a small survey, so I know what their competencies are, what their interests are, what would they like to work on ideally, and then I allocate the groups based on this feedback. So I support peer learning, and I can distinct role allocation better. The very important thing is to start from the familiar. So all of them, they more or less know how to do video, how to take photos with their phones. So how about we use the same tools that they already know and do something more with that? So all those early exercises, I think, should be done as in as approachable way as possible. So we've been using smartphones and some simple 3D.js apps. This enabled to lower the entry barrier, and it also compensates, as we all know here, for institutional friction regarding new gear procurement. As we know, it takes years to get new equipment, at least in this part of the world. Also, what I also always try to do, make the deliverables feasible. So set a video short as the project output. So this graphics here is a general overview of what the students were asked to do. Of course, interested students can utilize advanced 3D software in the process if they choose to do so, but it's not a prerequisite. So this is an extra thing that they can do. Of course, sometimes it's necessary to go the extra mile and support students even after hours, because I thanks to my industry collaborations, I have access to some high-end gear. So if students apply, I can also help them make part of their projects with this extra gear. Again, this is an option, basically. And I think that when working with a new medium like 3D.js, I try to make the creative process reflective and anchored in clearly defined aims. So the end deliverable, the video, is complemented by a group presentation and a short behind-the-scenes video. So they can also reflect on how and what they've done, actually. Since we don't have much time here, this is just a screen grab from a web hosted gallery of their top works. So I do encourage you to take a look, spend some time over there. Just a sneak peek, I'm having a new class this year, and I got some really interesting industry guys on board. So I hope that students will be able to also experiment with synthetic-based spatial content from Word Labs and from Tripo. So I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully I get a chance to present this as well. And this is what they've done actually last week. This is not public yet. I only opened this for a few hours for this event. So if you want to take a look, this is this famous Opus sharp model that enables you to convert one photo into a spatial 3D.js reconstruction, and students were experimenting with that as their first gentle introduction into spatial media. So that's it. I think I'm on time, more or less. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. That brings us to Patrick.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Okay, so let me explain. So previously, before Vietnam, I was teaching at computational art at Goldsmith in London. So we have a baby. So that's actually the main situation. We have a baby, and we decided, maybe we should find somewhere nearby Indonesia, for family support, etc., etc. And for a really interesting reason, out of nowhere, I get this position here in RMIT Vietnam. So when I return here, the first thing that I notice is the gap of understanding what is digital art, new media, and any other related field that commonly very general knowledge in the other part of the world, which is, let's say, in the UK. And the other part that become quite struggle for us that I would like to discuss with you, there's also a cultural barrier about hierarchical understanding of teacher. I'm from Indonesia before I eventually spent over the last 20 years abroad. So if I need to make a simple analogy, perhaps I'm wrong, uh, Vietnam still very similar like us over the last 15 years. So the understanding of teacher, it's very big. So barrier is there. So when the situation come where I need to teach a node-based programming, even positioning one simple object for them, it's a very big decision. Most of them know how to do it, but they always seek for acknowledgement at the end. And the acknowledgement that they seek, it's basically a hearing from us that they're doing fine. Because of this issue, I'm trying to make a very specific tools in Touch Designer where things become a bit more higher level. And after several iteration process with students and also talk with my colleague, Dr. Helmut, which is the course coordinator, and also the other co-lecturer, Dr. Suren, we ended up into this several final packets, which initially it was start by converting vector image, or a pixel image from Photoshop into Touch Designer. I wouldn't really go into detail, but this is the first. Let me turn on it. Let me make it. So this was actually initial the package that we tried. Why Photoshop? Because for them, that would be the entry point, easy to start working on this more interactive platform. It's a very similar analogy like what Lukasz explained. Start as a point called a starting point. For us, we start with the Photoshop. So when they begin to start drawing something in Photoshop and convert it to Touch Designer through Sifun or Spot Out protocol, they begin to engage. But then it's actually create another layer of complexity. What should they do next? And therefore, from there, we begin to create all the packets based on its functionality. So here I divided into three different. There is a texture here, which is the image adjustment. And to give more understanding how can a student normally achieve it at the end, this is the full package demo, as you can see. So what happened here with the new technology that Touch Designer provided to us, which is the POP, I'm sure Taro and Lukasz very familiar with this, we are able to start working with the actual image, which is something very practical and aligned with them in daily life. So from the actual image, or even with just very simple geometry, and they need to create a more simple, complex of geometrical process, which ended up to create something like this. And something very interesting that I would like to discuss also further with you is about the aesthetic of pointillisms, the point cloud, and how it can somehow become a very strong fundamental for them to understand and go forward into this digital realm. So this is the demonstration of what they normally created at the end, which is honestly, most of us started early, it's something very hard to achieve in the past. However, something very interesting with the Vietnam cultural context, the main reasons on creating this TD EduPacks is literally as a fundamental starting point, guys. Not even talking at the conceptual level, but literally to immediately being able to engage them creatively and to show the potential on working in the procedural method. I think that's all from me, and I look forward for your feedback, your suggestion, any critiques on how we try to establish this unique cultural-based pedagogy in Vietnam. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you, Patrick. Great. And so then, Taro, you have the floor.
Thank you so much for having me today. So let's get started. So today I'll share my experience integrating AI into architecture design education at NJT. Unlike fine art, architectural design must balance aesthetics and functionality, and it usually progresses through multiple phases. And given the current state of I have found it important to apply the right AI tools to the right phases, from early ideation and representation to later stage visualization. For example, an initial messing model by an architect. So let's just assume this is the ideal shape for architects. And it can be transformed into a residential complex in Europe using image to image style translation. By adjusting prompt, we can quickly generate multiple design variations, as you can see here. Then even the time of the day or weather can be controlled. And many variations can be explored quickly. And through iterative engagement with AI, students can gain new insight and refine their ideas. And recent AI systems are also very good at understanding images. So here's an example using in and out paintings. And also, we can coordinate an interior simply by dragging and dropping furniture images you can see at the top here. Then also you can add a window there, and also you can get the several different layouts instantly. Then we can add the family member, including children here. But even you can keep only a grandmother and grandfather in the scene. This kind of control wasn't possible just a year ago using previous AIs. Then also you can even add a rock band here. And as if you are chatting with the AI, you gradually refine your design. The design development start to feel like a conversation now. AI tools can also generate layout variations. For example, when we ask for sustainable green space in front of a station here, AI can quickly propose multiple spatial options. And these layouts can be animated instantly, then helping users get a sense of place almost instantly. And we can change the number of pedestrians and simulate traffic conditions. And next, I'd like to talk about AI for expression, especially in video production. So here are some more images generated through a similar process. And this project received an award from the American Society of Architecture Illustrators professional competition last year. And I then began using AI, not just to visualize realistic buildings, but to express conceptual ideas. This work uses image to video translation technique based on my own design work. It's a homage to the 1960s metabolist movement in Japan. Was submitted to an open museum competition. And I found it very effective to use procedurally generated 3D models or videos as guide for step-by-step AI video generation. So as you can see at the bottom, that's the original procedure generated shape. And instead of using AI in one shot, you can actually use a sort of hybrid approach using a current state of the AI. Fortunately, this project received an Excellence Award. And this is another piece created about a year ago, showcases humanity's relentless obsession with construction. No professional architects or planners are involved. Cities grow spontaneously through the collective effort of people. So essentially, this work is based on a very personal concept of mine. And but what I wanted to say is, in the past, realizing such projects and ideas require mastering complex tools and rendering frame by frame using, for example, 3D Max or Maya, and often running computers all night long. So through dialogue with AI, I was able to translate vague and intuitive ideas in my mind into a finished work very much efficiently now. So AI became a partner in creative communication. So art once depended on a singular genius like Michelangelo or Da Vinci, but later workshop like Rembrandt. enable large-scale production. So today, tireless AI agent may be driving the next shift. And earlier version of this project received a special mention at the Architizer Vision Awards. Then it's currently exhibited at the Shenzhen, Hong Kong Bi-City Biennale of Urbanism and Architecture. So it's using a very big monitor in China. So to gain more control over AI output, I often start with procedurally generated 3D models, as you can see below. These models follow architectural logic, such as ensuring sufficient daylight, and before applying AI for texture and atmosphere. So as you can see, instead of relying on AI in whole shot, I use a sort of step-by-step approach. And more recently, AI has become capable of turning highly realistic still images to video. So this clip was created for university promotional projects and visually showcase a borderless community and this institute's vision. So from Michelangelo to Rembrandt's workshop, art moved from singular genius to organized production. So it's like commercialization of art, mass production of art in the past. But today, tireless AI agent may be reshaping creativity once again. And I once wanted to become a film director, but thanks to AI, today almost anyone can experiment with directing and storytelling. But however, the internet web is now full of the Harit-like forms and generate green architecture like these. But it's important to remember that AI can generate these images because it was trained on the works of great architects from the past. Those images on the bottom, they are actual physical buildings done by those great architects. And without that history, today's AI has not truly reached human level creativity. At the same time, examples from Google DeepMind already show AI achieving Nobel Prize level reasoning in science. So it's likely only a matter of time before many forms of intellectual labor become automated. Simple routine tasks such as resolving conflicts between ductwork and structural member in construction drawings, or maybe like automatically generating efficient factory layout can be handled by AI. So whether AI can generate truly unexplored design ideas remain unknown, but in science, this seems to be already happening. So this makes human originality, thematic depth, and conceptual intent even more important. The key question is how we collaborate with AI to define and open new form of value. And finally, a short message from me. I'm serving as an interactive art co-chair for ACM Multimedia later this year. So I welcome your submissions. Also serving as a unified juror for SIGGRAPH and student competition juror for architecture in perspective competitions. So please encourage your students to submit. And thank you so much for your attention. I think I might spend 2-3 minutes longer.
Oh,
Sorry.
I think we're good. I mean, this was wonderful. Thank you so much, Taro.
Thank you.
So I'm curious. I mean, all three of you presented really unique and border, on the border of the edge of beyond what's typical. And Taro, I think you did mention that the work that you were showing was mostly work that you've done collaboratively with AI, but that you are bringing that to students as well. And so I thought I'd go around the three of you. We can go the same order as you presented, Lukasz, Patrick, Taro. And maybe if you could share a little bit about how students are receiving the experience of basically exploring the boundaries of beyond what is typical and perhaps what is expected. And have any of your students then, after working with you in these spaces, gone on to continue their own explorations in that direction? So I'll start with Lukasz.
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's on point because usually the first few sessions, like 2-3 first sessions, they're scared, they're frightened, they don't know what I'm expecting out of them. They're a little bit lost because it's not, it's not your usual Unity 101 and then you just continue. But then that's why I stress so much the familiarity of tools and this gentle first steps, that they don't feel like they're in a void. But then after first few sessions they start to really enjoy it, and the first time when they see a spatial reconstruction that they can move the virtual camera and then suddenly it's not a flat image anymore, they're like, oh, so I can do this and that, and then of course the train goes off, and I just give them space, and then they can explore. Even last week, even though Unreal is not on my current class syllabus, I got an email from a student that, oh, by the way, I found that plugin and I managed to put my Splat into Unreal. What do you think about it? I'm like, man, this is the way to do it. By the way, there are 5 more plugins if you want to try out. So yeah, gentle and step by step, I guess. Yeah.
Thanks, Lukasz. How about you, Patrick?
Yeah, it's a very interesting discussion what Lukasz and Taro brought to us. Let me answer first about the AI implementation in our university. So, since you already know, RMIT here is a branch from the one in Melbourne, right? So the RMIT Melbourne, they already have our own AI platform. So in terms of how university embracing this, we are, I would say, actively trying to engage with it. So we have a platform called a FAL, which is basically an online platform where you can change even between models. So having possibility to do not similar like what Taro achieved there, but in order to create some image generated, yes, there, and even university provided. But the issue with the Vietnam is a bit different. Why? Because the understanding again about technology, especially in the realm of art, still so far, at least in my opinion, within the realm of entertainment or merely just a design graphic. But because of the huge a lot of information from internet, they begin to aware about this. They begin to aware there's something. I mean, for example, Taro, some of my students actually, if I'm not mistaken, show me one of your video. Because I see the procedural geometric, then it's kind of like ringing bell. So they get there, but the situation, the pedagogical situation is always within the class. When they are in class, although we already try to provide the tools that I try to build, they froze. That's always the issue. They froze in class. They don't even ask question. But if I go one by one to their computer, they did it, but they silent. They don't talk at all. I was honestly trying to find a way how to engage with them. At least saying something what they do, right? Even if they ask question, it's not the issue that they ask. They ask a confirmation, affirmation that I'm doing fine. But something very interesting within our situation, almost very similar like what Lukasz explained, Taro, Lukasz and Nick. Last minute before the submission, out of nowhere, they did it. Yes. And sometimes they modified the package. So the package is no longer become tools that they use, but somehow become a blueprint. They get into it, they work on that, and of course, most of them come asking. So it's a begin the next level. Most of them come asking, I got errors, but when I check the error, they get into the package. So indeed, this cultural dynamic and understanding of how the emerging of computer graphic, it's something very interesting that currently happening in Vietnam. Especially as you already know, the the huge development of the country. Oh, it's very fast. If you are here, you can really feel the development is everywhere. But this is very important for all of us as educators. How can this pedagogical method and assessment, especially, would align with the strong growth of economy? Yeah, I think that's what from my side. Thank you, Nick, Taro, and Lucas.
Thanks, Patrick. And Taro, how are your students faring with being tasked with experimenting with these AI tools? How is that working out for them?
Hello. Well, thank you so much for having me. Response to the question, definitely it takes time for them to learn the baseline skills. But younger people generally know that, well, for me, like catching up with the speed of progress is always hard. I'm not young anymore. So every day there's new tools coming up, pops in, and especially related to AI, like every day there are new models emerges, and it's so hard to catch up. But younger people, they basically very good at adapting new things, maybe compared to me, myself. And I think one problem is they already know the machine's gonna almost kind of replace us. All kind of routine tasks going to be resolved by automated system in the future. Like if it's like non-creative work, it'll be all automated. As I mentioned, AI has got the Nobel Prize already. So I think one thing I kind of making effort for teaching is to understand what humans can do and AIs cannot do, and they need to kind of aware the power of humans using AI, what we can accomplish using AI. So that's the sort of turning point. Like if they understand the value of us. And now it's kind of very important to understand like how we are different from AIs, and they could do like almost like they can do almost like a rendering, like they can do very quickly and faster, even like capturing, generating 3D mesh with texture. You both of you presented some of the AI tools, but no manual labor is involved anymore. Like it's kind of automated. So how sort of we can utilize those incredible bodies like a AI agent to sort of establish a new sort of perspective in our design. And that's one of the things challenging students, like I attended one workshop before learning AIs, and there was one guy who can produce like incredible, amazing work. It was like 3 years ago using Midjourney or something, but only difference between he and I are just the contents in the prompt, the text. It's not about like my sort of artistic sort of potential or anything. And whoever that was, like whatever he creates was like amazing, beautiful, So, but the difference only existed back then. It was only how we sort of do prompt engineering. So how we sort of establish our original value for our outputs. That's a very challenging area that I'm facing with my students right now.
It's funny to hear you say back then, when we were doing prompt engineering, that was so 2025 as we get through January of 26. I was curious, when you're working at that far frontier and the boundary of the known and unknown, there's always the encounters with the unexpected. And for us, as we're exploring, it's like, hey, something unexpected. But I'm wondering how students, work with that. Like Taro, we'll do this one in reverse order. We'll go Taro, Patrick, and Lukasz on this one. And one of the things that I noticed, for example, in Taro, the examples you were sharing was when the grandma, grandpa are inside their apartment. Grandpa is standing inside the window, but he's holding the handrail that's outside the window. And I just feel, especially working with AI, that there's things that are unexpected that come out. And how do students respond to that? How do they receive that? Do they, does it change their thinking? Do they feel frustrated? Are they excited? I'm just curious.
See, I actually didn't realize that handrail issue until you pointed out.
Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
but no. But that happens. And well, when I look at my works using AI, I can find many issues like that using today's AIs. But that's again probably like I don't worry so much about those kind of little things because it'll be probably picked up. Those kind of matters based on rational thinking. It could be probably resolved. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or 3 years from now, but eventually those going to be resolved, I think. So when AI is getting smarter and smarter and better sort of algorithm beyond transformers evolved, it'll be probably done. Then I think, what was that exactly your question?
My question was like, how do students respond to that experience? A lot of times I feel like students are very oriented towards, I need to do perfect work. I need to get the best possible grade. I need to please my professor. I need to, complete this so I can do the next thing. And then something unexpected happens. And I'm just curious how that plays out for your students.
Yeah, so as you pointed out, unfortunately, using today's AI, you still need to sort of clean up and all these post-processing. But I believe those going to be resolved. And today's kind of agenda for all the AI, generative AI tools developers are how we gain more control. So we talked about sort of prompt. It was prompt engineering. It was like a slot machine before, but now it's more, we are gaining more and more controls. So as an example of that, I show grandpa, grandma examples, then it'll be better and better, So when we imagine everything's become possible, what's going to be our own human contribution over all these works? That's one of the things that students need to be aware. And they know, it's going to be all automated very soon for this kind of mundane task. Then at that stage, what we can contribute as a human using all these smarter tools. And that's probably like a center of discussion among with my students right now. So it wasn't a direct answer to your.
That's great. No, the fact that it sparks that discussion is great. Thank you.
We should probably I'd say we should focus on that part more instead of because we will gain better tools tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. so
get comfortable and expect the unexpected is the ultimate lesson.
Yeah, it's kind of like we should play ahead of this game. Otherwise, instead of spending 20 hours hiding the handrails,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taro. And how about you, Patrick? Because it seems like you're starting, you start with some Photoshop, which is probably familiar to your students. And then, okay, well, there's this thing called Touch Designer, which very few of them would have ever heard of. And, how does the unexpected play into your experience with your students?
Yes. There are several layers of experience with them, honestly. First, they are amazed with how advanced the technology for them. Yeah. But then, again, I'm trying to somehow drag to our context of culture here. They begin to ask, what should I do with this in the future? And they I never, honestly, I never thought they would ask that, because previously back at Goldsmith or when I was still in Melbourne or when I was studied also before, we kind of like know what we're dealing with. So they begin to ask more pragmatic questions sometimes, like where's the industry? What is the outcome? What should I do with this at the end? And it's, of course, become a long conversation. That's the first thing. The second thing, for those who are interested with pursuing further this generative or procedural method, uh, they become very interesting, but in a way they also unsure to which direction. Particularly because the environment and ecosystem of industry or practitioner is not well established here, but it's getting there. That's why the huge influence from internet, it's very strong from them. So they know more all the works from the internet. And then the last response that I get from them, which I not really expect, is honestly thanks to ACMC Graph. Not gonna lie, they begin to aware more about that. We had a talk, a Spark talk, I think a week ago. Lukasz was also submitted, but I'm sorry, Lukasz, we need to somehow find people from these regions. Let's actually begin to somehow stimulate the ecosystem here. So that's by far. But something very interesting to emphasize about the use of AI. I honestly want them to use Taro, Lukasz, and Nick. But for some reason, they dare, but in terms of design, practically their human side somehow still very strong. I saw them some of my personal work when I come from computer music background, so I saw them some of my work when I train my own model based on sound and my voices, right? But for some reason, their hand craftsmanship in terms of they want to draw or they want to doing something is still there. That's why we started with Photoshop. I'm not a Photoshop guy. I only know how to open Photoshop and then create the network connection with that designer. But from there, they enjoy it more. Yes.
Thank you. That's great. And how about for you, Lukasz? I mean, especially working in Gaussian splatting, and I feel like that's one of those fields where you could show a demo and look at this. It's a wonderful, amazing result with what I did. Okay, now you go do it, and they come back. It didn't work. It didn't come the way I thought it would. How are your students working through the unexpected side of exploring the frontier?
So I'll also start. I think I'll build on what Patrick said before on the cultural differences. So when I do those workshops in Europe or in New Zealand, for example, they I don't have to ask them. They're much more outspoken. They will willingly share what their experiences are, and we can iteratively build on that and just take things further. Whereas in East Asia here, I think that's a very good idea for me to actually have one more question in my class questionnaire that proactively ask them, what are your thoughts on that? How you could use it, how it relates to your culture. Can you somehow combine your traditions or your old crafts, your established crafts with this and that? So this is something that I actually learned here right now, and it's super valuable. So thanks for that. As for the radiance fields and Gaussian splats, I think for them it's a revelation when they finally see that 3D design or 3D environments, it's not this obscure ILM/Ubisoft level craft that you need to be a sorcerer to have a level designed in Unreal or seen in Unity. The fact that they can bring real world objects and even environments and get them into a spatial virtual environment and an animate camera around it, it's very eye-opening for them, and they they want more. Basically, they usually ask, "Oh, will you teach something next next term as well?" And I'm like, "Yeah, talk to my dean. Yeah, then maybe we can meet again." So the will is there, definitely.
Wonderful. So we have just a few minutes left in our session. It's been so fascinating. Time has flown by us here. So I just want to reach out to our, our attendees. If you have any questions for this group of panelists, please feel free to either use the Q&A to enter or the chat. And while I'm waiting to check on that, I do have to ask you, Lukasz. I mean, this has been in my head since the beginning of your presentation. How did you make that cube did you that you were holding? It looked like you had physically rendered a Gaussian splat. And I just, what happened there? What was the process, and how did that result?
Thank you. So basically, when I first shared it on LinkedIn, half of the comments were like, "Oh, AI stuff, lazy you," and I'm like, "Nope, it's not a 2D render." And then I had to post a video of that, of the cube, and then people understood. There's actually, I met them at SIGGRAPH Vancouver. It's a startup from China that I collaborate with. They're called Crystal AI, and they are pioneering the art of actually turning radiance fields into high-res printouts, high-res 3D printouts.
In color, no less.
Yep.
Really impressive.
Yeah. So it's I see huge potential even beyond arts for that. And then since this is one of my first radiance fields project, a culture heritage project that I did here in Hong Kong, and this very particular scan was very important to me, even on a personal level. So that was actually the first file that I submitted to Crystal, and then we kind of experimented with that, because usually they would make it really clean, so they would have some transparent areas within the cube, and I was like, no guys, let's do it the muddy way, the raw way. So leave all those glitches, leave all those basically glitches from the reconstruction, and then we'll see how it goes. And I think it turned out quite beautiful.
I feel like, Taro, you might need to take some of your AI renderings and see what they look like rendered into a piece of crystal like that. That might be really interesting. I guess I haven't seen any new questions come in, and we are technically at the end of our session, but I just wanted to, offer, if any of you have a question for each other or anything else that you might want to add as we close out this year's soiree.
Well, I missed some of this. I just want to thank everyone, especially you, Nick, for doing a great job, and all the hosts. And I think it went really, really well. Great job, all the panelists, really good.
You know what? I'm going to promote everybody that's here to panelists so that we can turn on our cameras and wave and say hi. So whether I know you or not, we only have, there's 15 of us here right now. Or actually, yeah, about 15. So we can turn on our cameras. And if you don't mind, I can do a screenshot of everybody waving and smiling to celebrate the completion of yet another soiree. Great to see you, Kevin. We were talking up chapters during this SIGGRAPH 26 session. So, the teapot, it's a real teapot that can make tea. Impressive. All right. So here it is. Everyone smile. I'm going to do the print screen thing. So 3, 2, 1, smile. All right. That's one. Let me just see if I'm going to paste that into my photo app so I can see it. Make sure everyone's looking good. And ding, 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 ding. Thank you all so much. Thank you for making soiree the awesome thing that it is. Oh, that looks fantastic. Everyone's smiling. I love MK looking out over the top of the teapot. So wonderful.
Nick, I want to thank you for for organizing, for taking the lead in organizing this. You've been online for what, 9.5, 10 hours straight.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And this is, a lot of effort from especially from you, from a lot of others, and it's well done. So thank you.
Stay online here, folks. I am just saving this picture that I screenshotted into a file so that now I can share it with
That's
all of you.
lovely. That's lovely. Thanks.
So let me just find, where is that file now? And there it is. Open. All right, that is uploading into the chat. So now everyone can have a copy of that. And thank you all for making this all possible and making it so rewarding and exciting and interesting. I have to say that I'm with Lukasz in that I was learning things all the way up through the very last session. This was a great experience as a learner as well as a teacher. So thank you all. And with that, I think we can close out the session, and I wish you all the best of the luck in your SIGGRAPH 2026 submissions, your SIGGRAPH Asia 2026 submissions, and hopefully I get to see some of you in person in Los Angeles, or who knows, in SIGGRAPH Asia, if I get so lucky to go. So have a wonderful weekend ahead, and take care. Stay safe.
Take care,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.